You are listening to Unfuck Your Mind with the real, raw, colorful, authentic, empowering, control profanity loving human Zach Lyotis, soul activator, master key holder, and intergalactic elder. Zach loves to find lessons in adversity to advocate humanity one listener at a time. She also enjoys having fun along the way. Check her out at zachlyotis.com to see what she's up to. But for now, let's pass it off to Zach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unfuck Your Mind. I'm your host, Zach Lyotis. And in today's podcast, I have Paula Brown. Paula has an intuitive gift to find and put into picture heart stories, to unwrap, show, and make visible what is inside each heart's gift. She helps leaders unwrap their gifts to get unstuck from story invisibility. Paula is a Heartist, an intuitive, quick sketch artist, purpose coach, author, and speaker. Leaders hire her to literally and figuratively draw out their authentic story, the true heartbeat of their purpose, vision, gifts. Her unique life stories lit her purpose quest skills and forged her belief that telling story from the inside out and wrapping and picturing your heart gifts ignites real leadership in life and business. Emerging from brand creative director from international clients and being an official nature animal communicator, Paula marries both intuitive and strategic processes for influencers to discover, unwrap, and communicate their heart gift from her sketch questing and purpose coaching. She takes her clients into creativity, understanding, and focus clarity out of the frustration of having and knowing their vision, yet not being able to communicate it. Paula, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Zach. Thanks very much. It's just a joy to be here. So, hey, welcome.
Yeah. And you know what? And, we did have like a nice long discussion before the podcast, and it feels such a blessing to have you on here because you have these amazing gifts, and I've seen your sketches and they're beautiful. You actually do. When I saw your sketch personally myself, it does speak from someone's heart because I felt it in my heart.
Oh, that's so neat. Yeah, it ignites people's hearts. And for some reason, sketching something communicates your purpose and your intent and your love for what you are and who you are and your ideas. It communicates it so much quicker than words or other ways of storytelling. So it's a wonderful way to tell a story. And it's all inside that gift that you've got inside your heart. So you got to open it up. And pictures tend to open it up. So I picture stories and all sorts of stories. So yeah. It's just a joy for me to be doing it. It just kind of comes out of my fingers. So that's it.
Yeah. Did you always have that sketching skill like as a little girl?
Oh, yeah. I was drawing animals. I was drawing things. I was I was always interested in finding out how things worked, and then drawing it out. And my mom would look at it and say, "You figured that out?" I said, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was a little kid taking apart the vacuum cleaner and not knowing how to put it back together again." I mean, they hid everything appliance-wise in my house from me because I would draw it out and I would draw all the steps to how to put it back in. And when I was in college, I would draw out, like I was in physics class or poli-sci or something like that. And I'd be drawing and doodling all the time, and people saw my drawings and they would offer to buy my notes rather than Cliff Notes because they could understand it. I took all these complex things in physics and my chemistry classes, and I tended to doodle it out, and I was giving away all my notes, and that's how people passed their courses.
Wow, that's genius.
Yeah, I was the Madame Curie of quick sketch in my chemistry classes. Yeah. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah,
now,
always sketching.
Yeah, and taking those sketches, because like I said, I've seen your sketches and they're really heartfelt, and I did feel them. But take us through the process when you're working with someone and branding them, and how you work in that sketching and really bringing that individual to life. Because I know, like, I could feel your energy. Like I said, we had this great discussion before the podcast, and I know how big your energy is, and I know the different gifts that you carry. There's many different lineages that are coming from you. But how is it that through your art, you open up someone's heart for them to see truly who they are?
Oh, it's quite a process. And, there's the mind and the heart that's connected to this. And when you talk about a brand, that's really what you do. You really find a cooperative mind to not label, but find and ignite the heart or the essence of the gift that you bring to your business or to your person or to your life. And you kind of combine strategy like direct methods and indirect methods of invisible alternative methods. Like I use a lot of HUNA philosophy with people to guide them to settle their mind and accepting the fact that they're going to dive into their heart. And so I use a lot of alternative methods and coaching to find that and to find the essence. I just keep diving and diving and diving and helping people in that journey by sketching out the journey to see where they are now. And by sketching it and by showing it to others, they can feel comfortable with. It's like a safety net to change. And where you're getting into your essence of your brand, you're changing. You're actually finding out what makes you tick. And you're unwrapping that gift that is deep inside of you. And I'm here. My gift is to help people unwrap that gift. And I do a lot of different modalities, lots of HUNA, lots of intuitive searching, dowsing, and also direct methods of questioning, where they've been, what they feel comfortable, what their flow is, where they're emotionally comfortable with expressing X, Y, and Z. Because you have to be comfortable. But once you find it, people can't speak. They're crying.
I feel like crying right now. That's so weird that you said that. I'm like, wow, she's going deep and she's not even doing this for me, but I could feel whatever she's doing. I really feel like crying. It's such a weird feeling.
It's opening yourself up to touch what's really you. And when you're a kid, that was out there. That was out there. And it played. And as an adult, you've been told not to play that way anymore by several different experiences. Everybody's different. But the aha moment is that visceral moment that people can't speak. So I lead people on what I call sketch quests, and I ask intuitive questions. And, I'm writing down and sketching at the same time. Then they get a visual summary as a touchstone. Yet there's always one question that they can't speak to. And I said, that's where we need to go. That's what's really important. And as an example, I just had a sketch quest done for a person who's doing a big community movement thing. And I said, I asked him one question and he couldn't get the words out. And we spent 20 minutes on him getting the words out. And that became the basis of his whole brand. I said, now, if you have the courage, bring out your warrior. If you have the courage to present this to everybody in your group, you're going to have the courage to present this to the world. And doesn't it feel good? And all of a sudden, we were on a Zoom conversation. I saw his shoulders drop. And he was just crying. And he says, I've never cried before in an interview. And I said, well, that happens with me, Bring out your Kleenex. You're going to cry. And he says, man. And the way I drew it up and found the holes and the rest of his answers, I find what things are missing. And it's usually connected by that essence of what makes you cry. What's really deep inside. So when you place that essence or that gift inside all the spaces that you are stuck in, or all the holes that are making you not be able to move forward with your big ideas or whatnot, that essence fills it up and boom, you can communicate it, you can live it, and you can go and have your business based on a real leadership foundation of your purpose and your being. And it's visceral. And if I don't get the visceral stuff, I just say, we have to do another sketch quest because we're not ready to uncover that yet. And when the people are ready, wow, it just comes out. And then through a series of meetings and processes and more sketch quests, then they find their confidence and able to make that shift and to feel safe in that shift and really express who they are. And that's when your big ideas get going again. That's when your teachings and your educations and your retreats really get the loyalties that they get, is when you are transparent enough to express that essence or that gift out there to everybody and share it.
Mm-hmm.
And a great way to share is in pictures, because you receive information 60,000 times faster from a picture, from an illustration,
It's
than
so true.
talking. Yeah. So
give you 1,000 different feelings, thoughts, emotions, stories, just whatever's going on within you. I know when I went to the art museum just down the street from my house, I walked in, well, I was called to go in, and I sat there and stared at this painting. And literally you look at it and you're thinking, it's just splashing paint. And I'm like, no, this is more than splash paint. Don't you feel the essence of this? Like, I'm bawling looking at this picture, this painting. It's huge. It's probably 10 feet long. And I'm standing there just bawling my eyes out. And, you know, I could see people looking at me like, what is this girl crying at? Staring at this bridge right now. And I'm having my own spiritual awakening looking at this picture, this painting. And I'm like, this thing hit me in my heart, like hardcore. So I get that, the essence of that. How long does the process take? Is it different for everybody, like depending on how open they are?
yeah, it depends on, everything is very custom, and it depends on whether I'm helping with a brand or helping with just getting, if somebody's stuck and they've got a big idea, oh man, you know, my team isn't understanding me, this and that. It take one sketch quest, or, you know, a certain amount of hours of what I call a why quest, where I do, you know, alternative methods to say yes, no to things. But most of the times, just to find your gift, it takes a solid process, a minimum of like 2 months of working on that. Wow. It isn't a flash overnight thing unless you've done previous purpose work and you're pretty close. It takes a process, and I've even sketched out the graph of, you know, like, oh, you know, you go up this high, it's sort of like the stock market, and then it crashes. And in each process for people to find their gifts or their purpose or what's inside their heart, it's classically, I've laid them over each other, and it's like, boom, and then it goes, plateaus off after a certain period of time, then it goes a little bit higher, and then all of a sudden they crash, and then they rocket. It's almost like you have to give yourself permission to really open up, and it takes you a certain period of time to ride along and see where your preferences are and what your patterns are in terms of how you express who you are and what you're doing, whether it's a big idea, a service, a product, or yourself. And it's classic. It has this classic curve, and then right before you figure out your gift or find your gift or activate your gift, you just go, oh man, I don't know. And then when that I don't know happens, you plunge, and then you pick yourself up again, and then you go back up, and all of a sudden you get all the aha moments you've been working on for the 6 meetings before. It's a cumulative effect because you've got certain patterns in place. You've got certain things that your mind wants to control to keep you safe. You've got certain things before your soul or your heart can come speak. So it's really marrying this and this. And I always tell people, like, think from your heart and feel from your mind.
You know what? As you're speaking, I'm sitting here going, like, and I could hear spirit speaking to me, like, imagine what your 6 month of sketch would have looked like. And I'm like, yeah, it would have been like, now she's in the mud. Now she's swimming in the mud. Now she's coming out of the mud. Oh, she hit the mud again. Oh, she's back out of the mud. Oh, now she's crying through the mud. Okay. And now she's confused. She has no idea what's happening. And, you know, that's what my 6 month looked like. Like, it was just up and down, activations, confusion, activation, confusion, and it was like, is this ever going to settle? And literally it just settled. No word of a lie. I can't even lie, but just last week. Yeah. That's when I had my aha moment. 6 months.
Yeah. It takes a while, because once you find your gift, then you're going, oh, I found my gift. Then all of a sudden, what do I do with it? How do I implement it? Or is this for real? So then you take another couple months to figure that out. And with all the hype that we have out there now, with all the people doing things super fast and all this stuff, there's a timeline, and you have to respect the timeline to get the bridge between here and here going. And I think with all the things coming so fast to us over the airwaves and all the choices we have, it's tough to tell people that they have to breathe, that they really need to go through a process, that it'll be this amount of time for this. And classically it is. Some people take shorter, some people take, longer. It all depends on where they perceive their obstacles are in terms of expressing the emotion of their heart. They know it's there. It's just opening it up completely. It's like these little Russian dolls, the nesting dolls, where you keep opening them and one more doll. And man, I mean, come on, where's the center? Where's the littlest doll? Well, that littlest doll is precious. That's the heart of something. And it's like unwrapping a gift at Christmas. There's all this anticipation of unwrapping the gift. And you know what the gift looks like on the outside. And the knot is too knot. I can't get the knot. I want to cut it. And then you just end up ripping it up and you find out what's inside. Yeah. And it's like, you got to do that for yourself. You got to untie all the knots, and all the aha moments during that journey are precious. And when you have them recorded in picture, you can share them with yourself again, because you are going to go off path. You just are.
It's true that you say that, because in that 6-month journey, I ended up writing 4 different programs, thinking like that's what Spirit wanted me to do. So I wrote 4 different programs. And every time I was speaking about one, I felt sort of in alignment with it. And I'm like, but what is this? Like, this is starting to piss me off. Like, I don't get this, And then even when you connect, like my spiritual teachers, like my one that I go to now that I have a hard time moving because of stuff that happened to me in the past, but he speaks to me in tongue, and he doesn't do any of the type of work that I need help with. It's like, okay, you're activating me, but I got to figure out what I'm to do to share with the world. And I'm not getting it. It's literally, I went crazy until I did some modalities that I do. I call it my candle magic. I pulled up the white witch in me, and I was like, burn these candles for X amount of days, because I called it in, and it was burn these candles and your answer will come. And no word of a lie, on that last day, it was that aha. And I'm like, it took me 9 days of burning candles for that answer to really appear. But there was obviously more answers that came up prior to the little doll in those little Russian packs.
Yes. Yeah.
There was so many things that unraveled for me. And it was just like, wow, now that you're saying, I'm like, I wonder what that would have looked like in picture form. Like, how do you interpret what people are going through? Is it just a vision that you get in your eyes, or is it just like, explain that process? That's an interesting process right there.
Yeah, I have an intuitive talent just to find the essence of things. And I'll be drawing as people are speaking. And they're to me, they're speaking in tongues, because it's all very complex ideas and stuff. I'm like, oh, there's the key. There's the focus. And I just draw it down or write it down, and then I'll sketch it as a summary. I'm the type of person who finds what's missing. And that's usually focus. And, they're up there, blah, 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 and they're talking like crazy, and they think they're communicating, and they're communicating at a master degree level rather than a kindergarten level. I'm the kindergarten drawer. And so the doodles that I have or do, either in retreats or learning experiences, or even talking to somebody on the phone on one of these sketch quests, the doodles always have to do with the key focus of what they're saying. And they can go on for 5 minutes and talk about one topic. There'll be one illustration for that wraps it all up, or maybe 1 or 2, but it helps people gain clarity and focus. And I just tend to do it naturally. I let my hand go. And that's just one of my talents. I naturally find the heart of something. And it's very hard to describe how you do it. And I truly believe that everybody can do this. And everybody can doodle out and make some focus if they are guided, or if they have a guide that helps them give themselves permission to uncover whatever they need to uncover to move forward. A lot of this stuff is giving yourself permission to really go to that place. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you're going to be embarrassed by what you show? You can't. It's you. And so all these paradigms shift as you're doing this work. And so that's a lot to take in. And, like retreats and classes, a lot of stuff just goes zing, zing, zing over people's heads because people are talking too much. They're not activating what they do. And these illustrations tend to activate the focus of each of the principles that they're trying to project. And people grab for the illustrations more than their notes. They never look at the notes. They look at the illustrations and they're triggered. They already know it. They've absorbed it. But the illustrations trigger that knowledge, and it also triggers a discussion within the class group. And so therefore it bonds people, and like experience brings out more experience and encourages growth. So there's all sorts of triggers that happen from these illustrations. And, everybody's taking pictures on an Italian retreat or something. And I can go, sketch part of the Parthenon with a cat sitting in the corner with a little emotional saying about that experience. They'll go for the cat in the Parthenon more than all the photos that they've taken. Because it's an experience. The illustration embodies an experience, not just a place. And that's what's so interesting about doing this, because I get my own experience from it too. And I really enjoy doing it, and I learn a lot. And I also learned that it's just so worthwhile to help people, guide people to these treasure maps that are inside of them. It's all there, and all the steps are there. But even spirit or the client or whoever, I'm only revealed so much too during certain periods of time, because if I reveal too much, then it's overwhelm, and then people just shut down.
Yeah.
It's a step-by-step process. And when you can see it in picture, it takes the seriousness of it away, because we're all so serious about what we do. And when you see a doodle about it, you go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can change that.
It's like a cartoon. It's like a cartoon character of just your life, and just a very, your drawings are a little more classy, or not a little more classy than cartoon characters. Let me tell you that. I know that because I've seen them, like I said, but it's just like a cartoon of your life. It almost feels like it. And you're just like, okay, I got to shift that up. Now, do you also help? Sorry?
It's a visual guide. It's a touchstone. Yeah.
I love that. Do you also help those like in marriages, like relationships, anything like that as well? Everything?
I've been called to have a couple of sketch quests on personal things where it starts out business, then we start talking about something else and going, whoa, let's have another sketch quest, because it looks like the relationship you're having with either your business partner or a family member or something really needs to be outlined for you. And so you can see it. And what's interesting, I've done a couple for a long time ago, before I was even having my business Delightful, when I was still a branding expert. I did a sketch journal for an abused child. And they couldn't talk about, it just gives me chills. They couldn't talk about what happened. But when we talked about it, the emotions came out, and I sketched the emotions, and they could finally talk about the incident. And it created a healing. And so that's where I'm a healer. I'm a heart healer. And
for sure. And
so I heal business and animals and people and nature. And that's, I think, where the healing comes from with these sketches. It enables people to express what's really in their hearts. And until you can do that, it's a tough time to heal. It's a tough time to set a new pattern. If you can't tell your mind and your heart that, I recognize this, I heal it, and it's time to go on. What do I replace that with? What joy do I replace that with? This person had new parents, and this is the joy, and he couldn't receive the joy. And now, this is an access. There's a door open. Whether you choose to receive it or not, you open the doors for that. And I could do this with animals all the time where they're very direct, and human beings aren't quite as direct as animals.
Yeah, I think I've seen your animal sketching that. That's what it was, an animal sketching. I was like, holy, like, her art is impeccable. Like, look at that. And like I said, I felt it. I felt every part of it. Like, just my heart opened up, and I was like, that's some serious drawing that she's doing there. Like, that's coming from a different vibration altogether.
Yeah, I do essence pet portraits for my animal clients, and when they want to have one done, and I just let the pencil go. They're sketches, but they go to the essence of what that animal is actually energetically now emitting. And it surprises me as much as it does my clients.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, where did that come from? Oh, let's do another one.
Yeah.
I'm quite surprised at the stuff I do.
Yeah, well, you're a gift. This is like a true gift. I know, like, Spirit always tells me to paint, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not an artist by any means, but I'm really attracted to the group of 7. It's so funny because they come to me. Yeah. And it's so interesting because that's the painting that triggered me, where I sat there and stared at it for probably a good hour, maybe even longer. I have no idea. Time just went by. But I did also a project on the group of 7 as well. Oh, and it always comes to me that you are the artist. You just have to let go of the egotistical part of it's not me, I can't do it, I'm not good enough. And it's true, like, that's the part that holds us back. And that's exactly like getting to that heart center that you're talking about. You're opening up an individual's heart so they could recognize truly who they are. And that's the beautiful essence that you bring out there.
Yeah, and you have to remember that in order to open the heart, you have to provide a very safe container. Yeah. You have to provide a very confidential container, you have to listen. You really have to listen, like you do with your clients. You really, and then they become really great listeners to their own self. So by listening, rather than just talking all the time, they start to listen to what they're saying and listening to what they're doing. They're listening, and even I teach art classes, and I always say, how do you get the person into your painting? You listen to what you're painting. What is it speaking of? What does it want? It's not what you want from the painting. It's what I'm landscape and seascape. It's what nature wants. Even in an abstract, it's what that abstraction wants. First of all, where's your focus point? Just like in people, just like in brands, where's your focus? How do you lead people by a path through the painting and through what you're emoting? And everybody's different. You're not here to paint like I am. You're here to paint from your joy. What's your happy place? Paint from your happy place. Get into that kid thing again, because the kid really knows. And so it's like everything else. How do you bring things into the center of your masterpiece? What is the center? And that's how I respond to art, like you respond. I just sit there for hours, and I usually bring a sketchbook and I start painting the paintings. And I said, well, don't have security call. I'm going to be 5 feet away from this painting now. But that's the way the Impressionist school really hits me, and the painters of light. It's like, what is the light inside of you that is connected to the light out there that you're connected with? What are the light connections between everything you do, say, reach out, and be? What is the light connection with that? And where are the shadows? There's many colors in the shadows. How do you paint the shadows? It's just not black and white. It's all full of color, and it's all full of personality. So it's really cool. And I love art because I watch people respond to art, and I'm going, wow, they're really connecting into that. Yeah. Something's calling them. Mm-hmm.
It opens up your heart. And it's so funny that you say that, because a lot of my clients say to me, Zach, after I finish working with you for a duration of time, they're like, I became a better listener.
Exactly.
And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, because you sit there and listen to us and listen to us and listen to us and listen to us. And you go, okay, so what'd you get out of that? Like, you don't even say anything, and then what'd you get out of that? It's like, so now I learned to listen to myself and ask myself the question you asked, so what'd you get out of that? You know? And it's true. We have to listen to ourselves because, you know, the days that I didn't listen to myself is when I was in the mud.
Yeah.
The days that I listened to myself, and it was when I'm up in the sky, you know, and that's the beauty of everything, because when we sit there and listen, even though sometimes like I laugh about the 6 months process because I listened the whole way through, but I just didn't listen to a little piece of information because I just wanted to ignore it. It was uncomfortable.
There's the most important thing. Yeah.
That's the most important thing, right? And it was like, you know, the spirit got me comfortable speaking about depression and anxiety. I was like, yeah, I could talk about depression all day long now. I could do it. But then they're like, now talk about money. I'm like, oh, that's another energy frequency. This is like depression. I don't want to talk about it. Like, let's activate their life and then money will show up. And they're like, but use the word money. Nope, I'm not using that word money. Well, guess what? We're not going to give you any if you don't want to use it.
Ooh.
And it was like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening now.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm all ears and I'm all yours. You know, like,
exactly.
It was interesting. It was the most interesting process. And, you know, I start writing about money and I said, money is like depression. It's an energy frequency.
It is. It's an energy exchange. Yeah. Yeah. You're very accurate. It's, there's a lot of avoidance there with many people. And I think it'd be so good for you to activate that in everybody that you meet.
You know, it was interesting because they brought me back to my childhood. So I'm going to do a sketch with you because I want to see all this interesting stuff that comes out.
Oh, that'd be fun. Ooh.
And I'm colorful too because they bring me here and there and everywhere. And I'm very comfortable in speaking about my failures, my so-called wake ups, which that's exactly what they are. But they brought me back to childhood and they said, look at as a child, how you just magnified all this money. Like by a certain age, you know, I think I was maybe like 16 years old, even younger than that. Actually, I started working at 13. I was making $15 an hour at the age of 13. That's 30 years ago.
That's
right.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And then I start working at a banquet hall and I was making, I think $35 or $45 an hour.
Wow.
And my friends were working all month. I was just working 2 days, making what they're making in a month, right? But I was working 4 weekends out of the month. So I was quadrupling what they were making in a month. And I never really worked. So Spirit kept on showing me these. And look at, you were a server, like you're a waitressing, and you're making between like $25 and $80 an hour, depending on what mood you're in. Because it's true, it's really a mood.
It is. Oh yeah, it's how you show up. Yeah,
it's how you. Sometimes I was like, I don't want to be here. I can't stand it. I just want to throw these plates at people. Like I get it, and that's those are my worst days of my tips because it was my own energy going out, right?
Yeah.
So Spirit showing me all this. I'm like, yeah. I'm telling you, it's energy. Like it's money. It's not a big deal. Like activate someone's life, you could activate it. But I notice when I use the word money, it triggers people.
It does. It does.
It triggered me.
Yeah. Oh, it triggers me too, because I think people are always thinking, well, where am I at with money? How much do I have? How much do I not have? And when I think I meet a lot of people who are stuck because they're thinking in the terms of they're always thinking in the terms of what's not happening. My big idea is not working. My team doesn't get it. I'm not launching on time. I don't have the attendance in my workshop, and only 6 people showed up and not 12. Well, why don't you embrace the 6 that showed up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I'm just drawing things out. And I said, well, 6 is a perfect number for a workshop like this because everybody gets to know each other. And do you see the benefits of this? Oh, yeah. And I did clear my money goal. I did clear it. And next time they have more and more and more. And it's the focus. It's going right back to the heart of the focus of what you're saying about money. What's the focus of the money? That's either the obstacle or the flow for people.
Yeah.
You can have a great flow and then all of a sudden just nothing's coming in. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is horrible. Nobody loves me. I don't have the money coming in. And it's like, it's such a trap because you get stuck there.
Yeah. And I didn't even, thank God I didn't think of it that way. I thought, you know what? One of my clients called me and said, Zach, when's your next program coming out? I'm like, I'm in a creative process right now. I'm not even taking clients. I don't even care. But it was funny because I really wasn't even taking clients at that time too. And then people would say, Zach, can I book a session with you? I'm like, nope. And I'm like, why am I saying no? Like, why is this even happening? And I was laughing at it because it wasn't me saying no.
Yeah.
It was something inside of me saying, no, you're not taking that person. I'm just like, okay, do you want me to eat? Like,
Yeah.
You want me to eat? And I get it. You know, the universe always provides us. I'm not, you know, I wasn't dying. I'm not starving or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting, the programming that I could have allowed to come in at that time. I was in that creative space to bring me to where I am today.
Do you know how rare that is that you acted on that? It's incredibly rare. It's incredibly rare because most of the people, including me, go to our safe place of, this isn't going to work. I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I've got to be the greeter at Walmart to get income coming in again. You know,
I thought of that too. Trust me.
Yeah, a lot of people go to that space really fast, and it's trust and hope. And the best leaders and the best influencers out there, the most positive ones, instill a sense of hope. Mm-hmm. And what you were acting on was your hope and your trust, mm-hmm. that your heart was leading you in the best direction for you at this possible time. And that is an incredible default. You have an incredibly high vibing default for that. Most people don't have that. So, you know, what you're doing for people is up leveling the default. You know, where's the baseline? Yeah. And can they see the baseline? And can they see the baseline of the positive, the pros and the cons? Where do you go? You know, there's dark and there's light in every situation. And what are your fears? And where's the boat that will move you around those fears and just call it a dragon that just is stuck on an anchor someplace that can't get me, you know? Mm-hmm. And so you make it into your own story, and you know, it's like you're the dreamer, you're not the dream. It's the same opportunity there. And so what you were doing was you were dreaming. You were the dreamer. You were creating something. You were just not waiting for the dream to happen. Mm-mm. You know, you were the coordinator of that dream and what it looks like. So that's amazing. That's really cool.
It is cool, but I did go through many different, I hear mind fucks, because it's true. Like, that's why this podcast is called Unfuck Your Mind. It really is, for a reason. Because if you just unscrew 1% of that, your mind, it really does make that difference. And, you know, I took myself out of I'm not making money, which at the end of the day, you are always making money. Money flows. Depends on how you're looking at money and an energetic frequency. My friend would come by and bring me groceries and be like, hey, you cooking tonight? I'm like, oh, dinner's on you, it looks like it. You know what I mean? So stuff is always coming. Food is always being served to you. Someone's taking you out and you're not even asking for anything, but this is all showing up. And you're like, okay. Yeah. It's working.
I made this happen.
Something's happening, right? Yeah. But it's so interesting because that's when all these podcasts came to life. And the joy and the love and just the gratitude I have by meeting individuals like you, just like opening in my heart. It's just like, I think I needed to focus on something else rather than trying to create something. This was just having amazing conversations with, you know, men and women. And it's just like, wow, this is everywhere. This is amazing, you know? Yeah. But I think that alone triggered parts in us.
Yep. It's amazing that more and more conversations like this are happening. Mm-hmm. Because there's such a big benefit in having a heart-to-heart conversation. And many people can't have that anymore. They don't know how. And some of the people that have reached out to me when they get a summary or something that I've sketched, or when I work with them, they said, first of all, it's common sense. Second of all, it's having a conversation.
Yeah.
Instead of talking at something and tweeting something out or talking at, you're having a two-way conversation, which is so much quicker and so much beneficial in terms of guidance and getting you on your way, or having you think in a little bit different pathway, or finding something that it's like, how many times have you gone to the refrigerator door and opened it up and tried to find the ketchup and it's right in front of you? That's like your purpose. Your gift is right in front of you. You just can't see the freaking ketchup. And it's like, people are doing their gifts all the time, and they just, that's just something I do. I'm going, well, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't create programs like you do about money and activating your money field or your money energetics. I don't do that. Mm-hmm. My extraordinary is my ordinary. Yeah. And so people think that it's just, I do that all the time. And I said, no, back up. Stop. What are you doing all the time that you take for granted? How are you taking yourself for granted? And let's draw it out. Let's see what's stopping you from incorporating that. And it's separated. They separate it. Okay, this is my business life. This is what I ordinarily do. This is my private life. It's all connected.
Yes.
And how do we connect that? How do we find the ketchup bottle quicker? How do we see it?
Oh my God, I love that you're saying this to me, Paula. Oh, I got it.
Do you have ketchup?
I do. And from Trader Joe's. We don't have Trader Joe's in Canada. So I go to Trader Joe's.
Oh, good.
And I come back home. I'm like, bad for our economy, but they should get a Trader Joe's in Canada.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that you say that, because even with my 6-figure program that I've written, and it's so funny. It's like, so what is your lifestyle? Which means, what is your brand?
Exactly. Yeah.
What is your brand? What is your lifestyle? How do you want to live? Because at the end of the day, that's your brand. And if you have to bring your workplace in, you don't have to, but I find that when you're living the life that you want to live, it all kind of intertwines with one another.
Exactly. It's all connected. And this is where the biggest brands, look at Virgin, look at Branson.
Yeah.
He's branding from people's emotional aspects of flying and of achieving, goals that are in the sky. I mean, that's him. That's him in every single aspect. Patagonia, same way. Mm-hmm. And I was just speaking to somebody, and they says, well, Paula, we're going to bring you in to draw out some illustrations of this, and that. And I went, okay, fine. But you know what my strengths are? My strengths are actually interviewing you and finding out what to bring me in for. I mean, I hate to tell you that, and then he says, well, no, we have a person doing a logo over here. We have a person doing a tagline over here. And then we're fooling around with our name a little bit. And I went, so what do you think your brand is? He says, well, we've got the logo being done. We've got the tagline being done. I said, that's not your brand. That's how you're expressing some sort of being. I said, what is your being? What are you offering people that generates value for them? That's your brand. Who are you in total? It's the logo is not your brand. And that's where people really get off track a little bit, because they're trying to define it, but they're coming from 3 different silos that aren't connected within themselves. So it's very interesting that you would say that.
It is. And you spoke about using different modalities, and you spoke about Huna. And I know it's a Hawaiian modality. Could you speak a little bit more about that for those that don't know?
Yeah, I'm a Hawaiian shaman. I'm what they call an alakai, and I've studied for years with a very, very powerful person on the main island, the big island of Hawaii. And I'm very grateful for that. It just sort of came into my life at just the right time. But Huna is the Hawaiian philosophy of life. It's the esoteric philosophy of life on how it happens. And it's based on aloha, which is really actually means to be happy with. And it's based on 7 principles of life. And these 7 principles go from everything's infinite. You have infinite access to everything and you are infinite to, what is correct? What is cause and effect, which is Pono. So there's seven breakdowns of, of the philosophy that, all are connected to build love, to build aloha. Aloha isn't, just hi and goodbye. It's actually the love of life, the love of breath. Aloha is actually the act of breathing. And that's, aloha. Ha is breath. Alo is the rhythm of the breath, the connection to the breath. And so it wraps the Hawaiian philosophy, and Hawaii is my recharge zone. I just naturally go there to recharge, and I've met wonderful people there. So I'm a teacher of Huna, and it's all about healing from the heart. It's all about healing from non-judgment.
Yeah.
How do you look at life in a non-judgmental way, but in a strong, I'm an adventure warrior. I'm not a warrior. I'm an adventure shaman, not a warrior shaman. And so adventure shamans find out how things are made. And then you have a choice of whether you stay with something or whether you say goodbye to something. You bless it and say goodbye, or you stay with it and cultivate it. A warrior shaman will put up protection for him and his people or the situation in him, but it takes so much energy to put up that protection constantly and be out there, that adventure shamans look at the situation, become part of the situation, and then decide whether it's Pono or if it's good for them to be in, not so great for them to be in. It's the flow. And there's all sorts of details to it, but I belong to the Amakua part of the triangle, which is the point of the triangle, which is the spiritual quest. So I'm an alakai for the spiritual quest. And how do you make that into common sense down here in the materialistic world? So,
yes.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So a lot of my alternative methods are based on the Hawaiian way of life, which is to find solutions, to find peaceful and happy solutions to things. And how do you get people to do that? Through breath work, through focus work, through all sorts of different works. So it's very interesting and it's really fun to do. So.
And it's so interesting because Hawaii has been calling my name for a while now. And even when I was in California last time we met back in April, I just kept on hearing, go to Hawaii, go to Hawaii. Go. I'm like, but I got to go home to a family event. And I just kept on hearing, who cares about the family event? Go to Hawaii. And I didn't end up going. But I have to get to Hawaii because you're speaking my language and everything you're saying. And yes, I was that warrior shaman. It does suck a lot of energy out of you because you're protecting, but also that adventure shaman too. So it's like I see the both, the intertwining of both, because I do go into my so-called problems, which I think is more of a disconnect of my spirit more than anything. That's the problem. And I look for a solution, but I also go into my, I don't know if there's a name for this, but I go into my white witch magic shelf.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, well, if I find there's an issue with that and I need a solution to that, let me just do my white witchy stuff, whichever is coming to the surface, because that's going to give me answers and I could find those answers and I could solve this problem.
Yes. Yeah. So it makes sense because we all have multiple toolboxes. And the Western way of looking at things is that you do one thing and only one thing only. And it really has knocked the bejesus out of me many times because people don't understand that I'm a multifaceted individual. But it all comes from being a heartist, opening up the heart, connecting the heart, unwrapping gifts from the heart. But I do a lot of different things. And people in the West aren't used to hearing that or seeing that. So when you pull out your different tools, that's natural. That's a natural thing to be doing. And, like, you can't see the air, but you breathe it. Just because you can't see these things doesn't mean they don't exist. I look at people, they said, well, what is that invisible thing that you do? I go, are you breathing? That's that you can't see either,
And I'm laughing at that because when I was younger, people were like, how do you know this about me? And I'm like, I don't know, the air tells me. That's the only way.
The air tells me, yeah. That's me too. Well, how'd you know that? Well, the tree branch just said that to me. What? No, you can't tell people that or else they'll think you're nuts. And I'm going, no, they talk. I can hear it. You know, it's like the air. It's like, and then we were doing Huna last time I was in the Big Island, and we were supposed to call up the power of the wind. And I got this visual of this gazelle leaping through, and then all of a sudden I said, okay, here comes the wind, and there goes the gazelles, went by in my visualization. And all of a sudden, all the people's papers on the picnic tables and stuff just blew away. This big wind came, and then my teacher opened up his eyes and says, who did that? Paula, did you do that? I said, yeah, the gazelles just went by. He says, see, there's proof that the wind is really good to manipulate, to clear things out. And he looked right at me. He says, did you do that? I think you did that. And I said, yeah, it was me. So if you connect up with the air, you're going to get messages from the air.
It's so true. It is so true. I know, because I've manipulated the wind a few times when I do meditations by the lake here, and I've done it in the summertime, and people are like, that was a serious wind that came in. I said, what were you going through at that time? Because I had to clear space. And they're like, you did that? I'm like, you all have the power to do this. You're just not using your tools. That's all it is. So
it's tools. Yeah, it's tools. And thank goodness we live in a time where these tools are being explained and they're being accepted, and some influencers are accepting and inspiring with them. And these are real people. I mean, real beings. And it's tough to get them explained because they're invisible. And it's like, man, like if you had a t-shirt and you're drying it out on an old-fashioned clothesline and you got clothespins. I describe the invisibles are the clothespins that attach the t-shirt to the clothesline. If they weren't there, these two things wouldn't be connected. And if the invisibles weren't there, you wouldn't have gravity. You wouldn't be standing on the earth. You wouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. You wouldn't be enjoying the river. It's the invisibles that connect us all. And it's very interesting, but I'm so glad that you talked to the wind. I'm going, hey, that's great.
Yeah, I do. And it's so funny. And this all happened to me when I was in New York. It was just a few years after 9/11. I got called to go to New York. So I go to New York because I love New York. I love the vibe of New York. And I was like, okay, you guys, I'm here now. Where do you want me to go? Central Park. And I was in Central Park for probably about 4 or 5 days in a row. And I was calling in the souls of 9/11 were coming to me because I had to bring them to the other side. It was a tough job that I had, but I did it.
Yeah.
I had to bring the souls to the light because they were lost. There were a lot of lost souls after 9/11.
I was part of that effort to bring them to the light. Yeah. Same thing. That was a big
goosebumps over my body as you said that.
Yeah. They were taken out in a not too great a fashion. Yeah.
Not at all. And I actually got a few phone numbers to call families. I was like, I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I just can't call your wife to tell her that you're okay now because you've got a hold of me. And my teacher actually gave me a 3rd degree lecture that I didn't do that. He said, you are to call. And it might sound weird. I said, yeah, so here I am. Hi, I'm in Central Park. I'm connected to your husband's spirit. Like, your husband wants you to know that he's okay now. Like, I go to him, really, I've been going off the cuckoo's nest all my life. Now someone's going to call the police on me. Like, I have to be very careful and vigilant about this. He goes, no, you'd be surprised that, the information that she would have given you. I'm like, I was not going down that path. Like, not going down that path. But it was because that's when I realized I could manipulate the wind. It was at that moment when I said, okay, I want all spirits that need to come through as the wind comes towards me. And I was like, I remember my hair, people were like, hey, where'd that wind come from? And I'm sitting on the bench killing myself laughing, going, I think I just did that.
Yeah.
What was the cause of that? And I just laughed through it. But
it's really amazing what you can do and how you can facilitate peace and comfort and heal things by doing these things. In Huna, we call it grokking. Because the Stephen Heinlein thing, he grokked in his in book, but it's grokking, where you take 80% of your being and merge with whatever you're going into and leave 20% behind. So, and then you can experience and talk and find out what they need, and, you know, be a positive influence in storms and all sorts of things. And like what you did, it's really interesting, but you always have to leave a little bit behind in your real body. But these are just tools, and people are going, and I look normal, and people are looking at me going, "You do what?" And I said, "Yeah." I'm not wearing a turban, and I'm not wearing a flowing tie-dye down. So you don't believe me because of that? And then I'm talking to friends, and I'm saying, you know what I really hate? I hate all this woo-woo stuff. And they're looking at me going, "But Paula, you talk to animals." I'm going, "Well, that's normal. You know, this is normal."
It is normal.
I said, "These woo-woo people are really pushing my buttons now, you know." And I said, "Why can't it just be part of your life? You know, it's just all part and parcel of your being." Yeah,
it is all part of your being. It's funny that you say you talk to, because I have a lady that walks on the road here with her dog, and I didn't see her dog Rocky for a while. I was like, "Where's Rocky? Like, where is that dog?" And my neighbor told me that her dog passed away. And I said, "Oh, I'm wondering why I'm missing Rocky." Because I love that dog, right? It was like a nice, chill dog. And one day Rocky came to me and had a message for me to give to her.
Yeah.
I talk to animals all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Everybody does. Yeah.
Everyone does, if you know how to, like animals. Like I had an animal communicator on the podcast as well. And I said, we were talking about how, you know, your dog communicates with you, but you don't even realize it because you have so much anxiety going through the leash and anger or whatever it is, that your dog's fully controlling you because you're communicating that energy with your dog.
Yeah.
So I had this conversation with Rocky's owner, and she just started bawling. And I said, "No, Rocky doesn't want you to cry. Rocky wants you to feel good." And,
yeah.
You know, it's so interesting because I was shoveling the snow the other day, and I swear I think she saw me shoveling the snow and ran out of her house because she's like, "I'm going to go talk to Zach right now." And I talked to her. I love her. She's such a beautiful spirit. And she says to me, "Is Rocky here?"
Oh.
And I said, "Rocky's always with you, just so you know."
He's everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere. And she says, "I know. I feel him." And I
Yeah.
said, "You don't have to ask me if he's here. Just know in your heart that he's always there." And she said, "Okay, bye. I'm leaving you now. Gotta go to the mailbox." And I'm like, "Bye." You know? And it's so interesting when that all happens.
It's just all part of our connections. And I think it's really good that people are looking into those hearts and seeing and feeling those hearts. It's just all there. And I think we've been taught by society and peer groups and to keep us safe, you know, because it wasn't an accepted modality to be speaking about.
Yeah.
And all of our parents wanted to keep us safe and not be looked at in a not so great light. And they wanted us to be X, Y, and Z because that's all they knew. And so I really, really am enjoying the times that we're living in because it's finally starting to stretch out a little bit. And all these things are coming out from secret, like Huna. You know, nothing was ever written about it because they were persecuted and had to hide when, you know, Captain Cook's guys came and, you know, decided to civilize the natives. And so now my teacher has written most of the books on the Huna philosophy. So now it's becoming out into the open, but it was always translated via storytelling.
Yes. Yeah. It's usually like that, right? It's usually through storytelling. That's the way I do a lot of my work, is through all storytelling. And it's funny that you say that because Jesus always says to me, "I'm a storyteller. That's all I do." That's
all it is. It's a story. What's your story? And my gift is to show it in pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your story. I got to get that done. I have to get I just want to see what comes up. I'm curious because I've been through some rocky roads. I mean, a lot of people go through rocky roads, and some things I'm open to speak with people. Some things I don't really relish on the whole story, but I'll give you little tidbits of it because I don't think that I want to really fully say it. But being in the space that you're in, I know that I could open up to you. A few people know the real story.
Yeah.
I give them the reason, like I lost everything, but there's a reason why I lost everything throughout that whole process. And it's just being in that safe space to say, you know what? Yeah, I could tell her, or I feel comfortable here. And that's why people feel so comfortable, even strangers that come up to me and tell me their life story. My friends will go, do you know that person?
That's what they do to me too. It's like, okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your life story. And I wish you all the best. I'm glad you got it off your chest, and I will not hold on to it. You do what you had to do. I get it. So yeah, I know that it's the most interesting thing. So Paula, thank you we went all over the place with this one.
Yeah, it was fun. It's just shows that we're both multifaceted people. And I think I really am thankful for the opportunity to be able to express that and be accepted for that. So I'm very grateful. Very grateful. So Zach, you're good.
Thank you. I like the woo in you.
It's always fun.
No, thank you. There's more than, you know what? It's not woo. It's just a whole lifestyle. And I say that too. And I just say I'm a woo because that's what people like to title you as. And I'm just like, I'm not a title person, for crying out loud. I had a hard time. That's why it took me years to awaken to who I truly am, because titles never did it for me. I couldn't care less about a title. Yeah.
I like just the one woo. I like woo, not woo woo. That's good. I mean, we can be woos, so that's good. So we're mind, we're strategy and woo. So
there you go. The multifaceted selves. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really good, but it's been a joy, and it's just been so much fun to talk to you. So thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone that feels connected to Paula, and get your sketch done. Like, her sketches are beyond extraordinary. Her gifts are magnificent. They're something that you don't see in too many people. It's just a talent that a few carry this. And I'm telling you this from the depths of my heart. It's not even me telling you, it's spirit telling you. So if you feel connected to Paula, her story, her vision, her work, just her extraordinary, that's exactly what it is. The extraordinary of you is just sketched through her fingers, so you could recognize who you are in the eyes of the divine, who your essence is. And away from that ego self, the human self, to really open up your heart and recognize the essence of the divine self on a deeper level. Connect with Paula. All her social handles are in the show notes below. And really accept yourself for who you are, releasing and letting go of all the holes that don't belong there. I want to thank you all for listening to Wise Women Wednesdays. And we look forward to having you back again next week. Have a great day. Bye for now. Aloha.
Thank you for listening to Unfuck Your Mind. Head over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review and comment to get uprising the charts so we can get this incredible wisdom into more ears worldwide. In the show notes, you'll find all affiliate links to what we've mentioned in the podcast or products Zach loves to use. Until we connect again, unfuck 1% of your thoughts and watch how your life shifts.